So you'll help me hopefully. All right, so we're going live for Wednesday's lesson of the day. Today is another day where I saw a lot of consults, and interestingly, today's consults were mainly about noses and filler problems that people have had. And the one thing I found myself saying ever so politely is apologizing for all cosmetic practitioners, being nurses and doctors and however we're trained, and saying that the problem with us is that we're way too creative, way too big of an imagination with way too small of a brain. So that is the reality of plastics. We're all cowboys and we think we're artistic, and it is destined to be, I guess, like the end of us is being too creative. One of such creative things is imagining how fillers go into the face and how they stay on the face. Two of these ways that I talked about today was one in a technique we call tacking or spackling, where somebody who knows nothing about carpentry, I promise you, has heard something about carpentry and thinks that if you lift this area and you put filler down to the cheek and inject as you come out, it's going to stay like that or cause a fibrotic reaction or lift you. The other one is lip filling, where people, again, with creative minds have never seen the inside of a lip. Maybe they've like ultrasounded it or seen a photo of an ultrasound, and they think that going in at different angles actually makes a difference when you go into the lip, which is not reality based, because as anybody who's ever been to my office knows, when you open a lip, there's one gelatinous layer in there called the lamina propria or submucosa, and it does not matter which angle you go at it. Once you inject in there a little bit of gel, the gel just fills that area. So I will show you what I mean. Here is Natalia. She is my publicist and my friend, and she helps me with all those things that you see on the doctor's show and all that kind of stuff. So we call her the bulldog. She's very active and probably the best I've ever seen. But here we go. So you hold this, please.
Okay.
And let's use this lovely face of yours while I put on gloves so nobody calls me unsterile. We're going to start with the spackling, tacking, hexing technique, or whatever you want to call it. And I will show you the reality of these imaginative things that people think about. So Natalia has allowed me to demonstrate on her not knowing what I'm going to do. But let's look at your face.
Okay.
So go ahead and center it and put your head back so you don't like cry and move and whatever. Hold it up, angle it down. Fantastic. So the idea here is people pull up the cheek and then they put in an injection where they want it, and they inject as they come out, thinking that that is going to cause some kind of like vertical or horizontal line in the cheek that's going to give you the lift that you want. Lifting, my friends, means you lift. You go up. Let me show you what happens when you do this in reality. So go ahead and get back on your face. Okay. And we're going to look at the vector. I'm going in totally horizontal. And I'm going to go, ouchie, sorry. Now if I let go, what happens? Where is that pointing now?
Downward.
Downwards. So the reality of it is your volume that you injected as you were lifting up here, look at that, ends up down here. That is not sexy. That is not lifting. That is eventually drooping, and it is imprecise. You're putting it in the wrong location. So don't get so creative. Just do regular filling. Put very small amounts. You have bone or you have soft tissue. Pick it, inject it there. It's gel. It is not spackle. It is not wood. It is not a drill. We're not made of wood. This is gel you're injecting. It's gel. So enough of that. Now let's go to the lip. I'm not going to stab your lip, but let's go back to your lip.
Okay.
So there are techniques. First of all, if something has the word Russian in it, don't do it. Russian lips, Russian injection, Russian roulette. Do not do these things. These are all bad things. I love Russia. Love Russian caviar. Love Russian dancing. I love Russian people. The things that you call Russian lip techniques, don't do them. So what happens is, I'm not going to stab you.
Okay.
Russian lip technique or fencing technique. We come in from the top and inject and try to inject into lines to go into what we call the sulci laborum, or the fingerprints or the prints of the lip. This filler is going to go into the same exact spot anyways. What have you done by going vertically is only increased your chances of migration. Migration superiorly as you backtrack into your needle track, migration inferiorly as the filler passes your dry vermilion, which is the only place you should be injecting, down into the wet-dry border, getting into the wet mucosa, where you do not have dense tissue, and your lamina propria becomes submucosa and is loose and migrates filler and turns into balls, and balls are not good on the lips. So, as we go back over here, you see, you don't need to be a genius to see this. This is your dry vermilion. This is the only place you should be injecting. Now look at my needle. How precise is that? So precise. I can get it exactly where I want it to go. It injects out the tip only, and if I inject retrograde, it injects in the track that I laid before it. If I want to see where it goes, I inject antegrade, and it will move a little bit as I'm pushing my plane forward. You could do it both ways, but if you were to go from the top down, as you draw it out, your filler, especially if you're near the border, your filler will immediately cross right here. Is there a real border between the vermilion, meaning the philtrum, and the vermilion? Is there a real border there? No. Natalia's not a doctor, and she knows that. There is no real border there. It is connected. The SMAS connects to the submucosa and lamina propria. It is one single plane. Do you know what SMAS looks like? I'll tell you what it looks like. It's a cushy little layer that's hydratory, kind of gelatinous, and it is underneath the skin, and it's underneath the vermilion, and it's continuous, and it wraps around the lip just like the pars marginalis and pars peripherales, which are different parts of the muscle, the orbicularis oris. Is the orbicularis oris really different between the pars marginalis and peripherales? No, it's not. It's the same muscle. So this is all continuous. So it makes no sense to come and do these vertical little stabs and increase your chance of migration and nodule formation. It does not benefit you no matter what you think artistically or imaginatively. I know this because I'm a lip specialist and I actually see it inside all the time. So you just inject this way. Now, question, do you want to use needle or you want to use cannula? You can do whatever you want. I will tell you, needle is more precise and can be more precise. So if you took 100 people with needles and 100 people with cannulas and you gave them all talent, I guarantee you the ones with needles would do a little bit better. Now, not everybody has talent, so I'd say it's equal. You can use cannula or needle on either one, and it's totally fine. However, if you want to be really precise, you got to use a needle. If you want to be super precise, you should only do retrograde. I do both ways. I do antegrade, I do retrograde. If you want to be super precise and super minimal, then just do retrograde. You're a little more controlled. I just have enough control, I feel like, to do it both ways. So the only thing you could do worse than doing Russian lip techniques and fencing techniques is adding fillers in there that shouldn't be there. The classic Juvederm, I don't like it in the lips unless you're Dr. Harris. He can control it. Nobody else can. Nobody's that good. So otherwise, Radiesse, don't put it in the lip. Not if it's hyper concentrated, hyper dilute, whatever you want to do to it. Don't put it in the lip. Sculptra, please don't put it in the lip. Threads, don't put it in the lip. Now, you don't have to listen to me. I don't know, if you know that I'm like a lip specialist, but you don't have to listen to me. But I would advise that you do. And as far as these creative techniques and expansive techniques where you go on someone's face, don't do those because it makes no sense. And don't do another thing I saw today is someone said if they fill over here, they're going to get a lift down over here. Okay? This is correct, but it's not smart. So to get the cheek to lift, you have to expand the head so big that you have a giant head. Giant head is not sexy, and it's not worth it to go get this. Okay, so you got to be like the squirrel going after a chestnut or something. If the chestnut going after it's going to kill you, don't get the chestnut. Just let it go. So in this case, you don't need to get the cheek to lift by expanding out the head. I would not do that. So those expansion techniques don't work very well. They just make your head bigger. Realistically, the only place that lifts with filler is under eye filling. Can lift against the nasolabial fold. It changes the position of the anterior cheek slightly, changes the shadowing of the nasolabial fold. So that's our lesson of the day. Reality-based filling. So just so you guys know, I'm not against filling. I like filling. You just got to be smart about it. So let's see some questions. Shit, I have a giant head.
I saw that.
That's good. Can the following product be dissolved? What following product? I'm unsure. Elance, I don't know about. RHA in the lips, very good product. Hello from India. Hello. Sir, what's your take on French brand Stylage? cytosol and teosol. So teosol, I'm familiar with, and they're very nice. I don't know the other ones. Most of the hyaluronic acid fillers are fine, and definitely fine for the lips. The lips you can get away with a lot, actually, as long as they're not super thick like Voluma. Voluma tends to cause little tiny beads in the lip and gets too firm. So how do you lift the upper lip? Ooh, here's a good one. Should be a part of it. How do you lift the upper lip without vertical injection? First of all, vertical injection doesn't work. So let's show you. Go ahead. Let's get back to this face.
Okay.
Okay. So here are two parts to the lip. Not everybody knows this because they're not lip specialists. But guess what? So here's your lip. There's a line here. I'm going to draw it over here by putting a needle down. This is called the diagonal line. The diagonal line of the Cupid lines, of the relaxed skin tension lines, is the line that goes from the internal lateral sill, following the relaxed skin tension line down to the vermilion border. This is called the diagonal line. Diagonal line is very, very special because diagonal line determines the difference between the subnasal lip, which is from here to here, and the subfacial lip, which is lateral to this point. If you Google this, you're not going to find it because I made it up, but it's okay. It's real. So I'll show you the difference. Subfacial lip is lateral to this line. Subnasal lip is medial. What's the difference? The part medial to this line doesn't age as rapidly because it's suspended like a lampshade under the nose. That's called the subnasal lip. Also, there is a thicker roll here called the white or gray roll of the vermilion. As you can see, if you put this line down, if you look medial to it, you have the roll. If you look lateral to it, you have no roll. Okay? This is where the lip transitions off and tapers into a lack of vermilion and becomes the subfacial lip. Subfacial lip ages more rapidly because it's supported by levators, not by the nose. The nose suspends this, doesn't fall so much. The face droops over time, and the lip buries faster. You understand? Subfacial lip ages faster, subnasal lip ages slower. Subfacial lip has no vermilion roll, subnasal lip has a vermilion roll. Everything under here is already suspended by the nose, which means if you add filler under the vermilion border, you can get what people would call a lift. It's not lifting anything. It's impossible to lift a lip with filler. However, you can evert it a little by getting a little bit more vermilion show. So that can happen. That's in the subnasal lip. Now let's go to the subfacial lip. Lots of people say, I want to get this part. So my doctor injected me with a ton of filler there because they wanted to lift it. I know they wanted to lift it, but they didn't lift it by doing injections there, did they? They're like, no, they didn't. So why did they keep injecting it? Well, my doctor thought they could lift it by adding more. But does it make sense to you that they can add it? It's hanging from your face. You keep adding volume to it. Is it going to get heavier or is it going to get lighter? And they said, well, it's going to get heavier. I said, yeah, you can't lift the lateral lip with filler. So what can you do? Please go back.
Okay.
If you open your mouth, you can get more body. So you can actually add volume here. And when the mouth is open, you see more body. When you close your mouth, no difference made. So this is where you would do what we call a corner lift, where you can make an incision that goes from the diagonal line, lateral, replace the white skin with vermilion skin, and roll it up. Very important thing to notice if you're an injector and you want to get eversion of the lip like that, you can do it in the central 2/3, not the lateral portion, so not the subfacial lip. This is a constant. The people who are an exception to this are people who have a wide nose and a narrow lip, or less discrepancy between the nose and the lip. Why? Let's go back to your face. So let's say the nose was actually out here and was wide, or the lip was actually narrower. Then you draw your line and it actually goes here, which means most of the lip is subnasal. On those people, their corners don't get buried, they don't age as much in the lip, and then when you inject them, they actually show a little bit more over time. So that is the way to look at lips or understand them. The Botox or the lip flip is another thing that people do. Realistically, what you're doing is you're relaxing the sphincter. So just like relaxing, well, we won't go into butthole talk, but when people purse their lips and they do this, and they're pursers and they're always talking like that, those are great people to do a lip flip on. You do like 2 units on there, it relaxes it, and instead of being like this and contracted and tight the whole time, it relaxes. 90+% of people are not like that though, so the lip flip, not great on them. It makes their B's and their P's weird. It makes them kiss weird. They can't suck on a straw. They can't suck on anything good. So it's candy. Candy. So She laughs at everything. So I would say lip flips are good if they've been done on people before. Otherwise, I don't like volunteering it to people because they're going to come back saying they can't move their lips. But you can do it, couple units, stay very small. And I think that's it. Okay, so lessons all done on yourself. How come you don't do under eye filler for yourself? Subtle jab. Okay. Because I don't care how I look.
Why do they even sign on?
Yeah, no, I just don't care how I look. I like to make other things look pretty. I don't even look at myself in the mirror. I like make my hair in 2 seconds in the morning and I leave the house. All right, perfect. So we are done. Thanks for letting me stab you.
Yeah, anytime.
Sacrifice.
Bye, everyone.
Sacrificial lamb. All right, I'll leave this up. Wednesday's lesson of the day. Oh, and if you think I'm wrong, you're wrong.